Hello guys, we got a 15 game MLB slate for Friday here on PrizePicks. All afternoon games for today. Tampa Bay against Cincinnati is going to be the earliest one, but there is going to be some delay and postponement risk, so that's a game that I'm just going to be staying away from. But looking at, strikeouts, because first inning props I'm not really liking any for today. Strikeouts, Chris Bassett over 5, that's the play of the day for me. Blake Snell over 5.5. Aaron Ashby over 5. Now, Bassett and Snell have moved, but Ashby, he's still here at 5. So I like that. Aaron Ashby, just a very good strikeout pitcher. He's got elite stuff. You can see it all with these red percentile rankings compared to the league, and he gets a great matchup, the best really, when it comes to strikeouts against the Pirates here. And the date here I'm using is the last month because the Pirates and a lot of the teams now, they just have different lineups compared to where they were opening day. So I feel like it's a better way to kind of narrow down the date range a little bit, but still allow for a big enough sample size. So that's why I chose a month. And when you look at a month for the Pirates against left-handed pitching, and this game's going to be in Milwaukee, they are right up there, 31.4% K rate, 2.5 more percent than the next team, and a 68 WRC plus. The Pirates just have a ton of lefties, and so when they are facing a lefty, they don't have the ability to platoon as some of the other teams do, and they still use a lot of their lefties in the lineup to face the left-handed pitchers. And of course, they're going to be neutralized. They're going to be even worse than they are. So Ashby at 5, I think this one's definitely going to be moved soon as well to 5.5. He has just tremendous case stuff. Now, if you want to take fantasy score, it is at 24.5. All right, here. I'm fine with that, but I think I prefer his case because Ashby, he sometimes will give up runs. Like, really looking at the past few games, he hasn't really been great. Like the hits, the earned runs allowed, and he's a young pitcher. He doesn't seem to have a long leash. So that's another thing. He might not be able to even go 5 innings for the win, and also then that puts the quality start even more out of reach. Not being able to go 5 innings, has to get to 6 to get that QS. So I think the strikeouts are a little bit better here. Just prefer that, but definitely there's correlation if you do want to take the fantasy score. The next one, this is a lean, but I thought I just mentioned it too. Personal play. And Savali at 24.5 under, because he has struggled a lot on the road, and Kansas City has been a lot better recently. Bobby Witt, though, he is hurt. He's not in the lineup again on Thursday, so he's a big bat that hopefully he can be in the lineup if we're going to be taking a Savali under. But the Royals, they don't have Salvador Perez, of course, but that also means less strikeouts. In Savali, he's kind of in the middle when it comes to strikeouts, but he gives up a ton of hits, a ton of runs, and Brady Singer on the other side, like Savali, it's not a lock that he gets the win. Like Singer can totally get this win, and Savali's projected higher a little bit than Singer. So I would say this one, just a personal play. Watch out for any type of news for lineups or weather or whatever, because there's a little bit of interest, of course, for me on Savali's under. And then I should go back to strikeouts, actually. These two are also just personal plays, but I'm going to go over them as well. John Gray under 6 strikeouts and Tyler Anderson over 4.5. Really, Pablo Lopez, if he's still at 4.5, that one is fine. Yeah. So all of these are just leans, so not official plays, but they just seem pretty good. Pablo Lopez, he's too good of a strikeout pitcher. Even though it's a tough match against the Mets, I think he'd certainly get 5, and he's got the stuff to do it. You're only taking strikeouts, so he can give up runs, he can walk dudes, whatever, and still be fine. So that one, I feel like it's going to get bumped as well. For John Gray, the Twins, they just don't really strike out. I should rephrase that. They have some guys that will strike out a ton, but overall, if you look at the numbers, Minnesota here, 21.2% overall, but they are playing away. If you want to factor this one in, away 20.2% strikeout rate, and they're very good. WRC plus 123 against righties. So they could certainly make Gray go under this just by hitting the ball hard, not allowing him to stay in the game for long enough innings. So I think 6, Gray's been having a good year, but this is not really the best matchup. Byron Buxton strikes out a ton. Gary Sanchez. They do have guys that will strike out. But Luis Arias, he's someone that keeps the strikeout rate very low. So it's kind of a wait and see, I guess. Another one, depending on what the Twins do, because you kind of want Buxton in the lineup because of the damage that he could do, but also you kind of don't because he's going to strike out pretty much every game. So gotta watch out for that one. Buxton, sometimes he's going to get rested. Twins kind of want to keep his workload a little bit low. Now on to hitters. I know you guys are tired of it, but Trey Mancini, 7.5, taking the over. He also has a hits and walks prop, 1.5 over on this as well. Probably lean towards the hits and walks because Detmers does walk dudes. Pulling up Trey Mancini here. And then Detmers right here. 36th percentile, all blue. Detmers, he's just not been good. He was just a no-hitter, but that was pretty lucky for him. He hasn't been pitching well. That's why he's got sent down. Now he's back up with the team. He's pitching away. A lefty, just doesn't really have the best stuff. Allows a ton of damage to right-handed batters. Of course, that's where Mancini hits. And, he walks. He's walked 2, 3, 2, 3. A lot of walks. And then Mancini, 49% walk percentile. And right now, overall, if you look at, historically, he is a better hitter against lefties, so that's good to see. But playing at home, Mancini, he's just a very good hitter. Sure, he hasn't hit the past few times that we picked him, but he's a great player. Demers is not. That's why we target him. Next up is Ronald Acuna, 8.5. Taking the over for him. Don't usually take guys that are this high of a projection, but gets a matchup against Eric Fetty. Fetty, he does allow power. He's not a good pitcher, and his stuff actually, it's a pretty troubling spot for him when you compare what his pitch types, what he allows to this Braves team. Just the pitches. The Braves, they hit Fetty's pitches well. The curveball, the cutter. Singer looped him with the fastball. So these 3 pitches, the Braves are really good at. He's also had some reverse splits, and the Braves are pretty stacked against, pretty righty heavy. So that's another kind of issue, I would say, for Fetty. And sinker, curve, cutter. So Acuna, we know how great of a hitter he is. He's one of the best players in the league. But you look at that sinker, curve, and cutter. Sinker right here, curve, and cutter. Yeah, it says a -4, but look at the expected numbers. Definitely a lot better than what this -4 run value should be. And he smacks the sinker and the curve. And those are the 2 primary pitches. Of course, the cutter is the 3rd in usage for Fetty. And then you're looking at overall what he has done. The cutter, expect better days, right? He's never been negative against the cutter. Sinker, he just absolutely crushes. And then the curve as well. So this is a very good spot. Eric Fetty also allows stolen bases. Acuna, he's among the leaders, 17 already this season. He also missed pretty much the first month, and he's still up there in stolen bases. So if he does get the ability to swipe one, he's definitely going to hit the over on this one. So when you combine the hitting spot with the speed game, this looks like to be a pretty good spot for Acuna, even at 8.5. So that's the reasoning for this one. Darren Ruff going to be next, under 6 fantasy points. Yeah, it's a low projection, but the Giants are pretty healthy now, so they're able to just pinch hit whenever they want. There is a lefty on the mound in Blake Snell. Now, Snell, his concern is the walks, but he doesn't really allow a ton of hits. And Darren Ruff, he really hasn't been great this season. He's pretty much in the lineup only for lefties. And you look at Snell. Yeah, he walks guys, but he also strikes a lot of guys out. And it's not just the same side. So Darren Ruff, someone who has a high K rate, 26.2. Yeah, he walks a lot, but remember, Darren Ruff, he's going to get pinch hit for most likely because that's actually what happened the latest games. And again, the Giants, they have the ability to say, well, now Blake Snell, someone who also doesn't go deep much because his pitch count is just always so high. He's walking guys, getting into a lot of full counts. He's pitching less than 6 innings like every single start this season, actually. So if Darren Ruff, that means he's going to get pulled after 2 at-bats, then he has to do something in those 2 at-bats. In walks, coming around and scoring, that's not going to do it. He doesn't steal. Darren Ruff is going to get pinch hit for. Brandon Belt, Lamont Wade, so many lefties. Yastrzemski, Peterson, if they're not in the lineup, like they will absolutely pinch hit. And Ruff is not having a good year. Wilmer Flores is more of a guy that can stay in the lineup than Ruff. So, yeah, it comes down to the matchups later, but I totally would expect him to get pinch hit for. And he strikes out a ton. Snell, hopefully he doesn't allow like an RBI double to him. But this one, if we're actually going to get Darren Ruff to play, he was at 6. Okay, well, now he's at 5. Must have missed that when I went down to him here. But at 5, yeah, it's a different story. But, I mean, probably stay away from that now. But I just spent like over a minute talking about him. But Flores at 7, he could be another pinch hit candidate. But, I mean, Ruff is really the guy. So, unfortunately, I guess we just take that one out. But, yeah, keep an eye on that, I would say, for all that I said. Next time when the Giants are going to be facing a lefty, remember that for Dan Ruff's under. The next one's going to be Julio Rodriguez. He's at 8, also an over. Now, this one I don't like as much as Acuna because, well, Acuna is the better player, but Rodriguez is absolutely on fire right now, taking on Ross Stripling. Rodriguez, he also is one of those guys that can hit well, but also has that stolen base ability. He's got 21 steals on the year, and Stripling will allow stolen bases. Alejandro Kirk, if he's catching, he's not the best at catching base stealers, so that's another one. And Rodriguez just batting as a leadoff guy pretty much. Mariners, they've been scoring runs even with Jesse Winker out of the lineup, so as pretty much the best hitter for the Mariners so far this season. Also Ty France, he's back in the lineup. Another guy, obviously, you're adding in another very good hitter that can drive in Rodriguez. So I like the 8 here. I think he definitely get there, even on hitting alone. But when you have that stolen base ability, you add in another way that he can hit the over. And then for hits and walks now, so Mancini, but Matt Olson, 1.5. Talked about Acuna, but Olson, Eric Fetty, he will walk dudes. Pulling up Eric Fetty again. Olson, he is very good against lefties, so even if Fetty's going to be knocked out of the game, they're bringing in a lefty for him, he can still hit. Fetty, 18th percentile, doesn't strike guys out, and Olson, 87th percentile for the walks. And you look at his game log, there are a lot of games where he walks twice, so he can honestly just hit that with the walks alone. But of course, it's a good hitting spot for the Braves, so I like his chances of getting a hit, a walk at least. So that's why I'm taking the over for here. And also worth mentioning, the Braves, this game in Atlanta, 8-mile winds blowing out, 88 degrees. Hopefully there's no rain, no delay, but this game should be able to play fine, finish off. And then an under, Andrew McCutchen at 1.5. Taking on JT Brubaker. Brubaker is not a bad pitcher. And Andrew McCutchen, I don't think he's going to be a pinch hit risk. He kind of was in the beginning of the season, but yeah, they kind of were, I think, healthier when you're playing in the beginning of the year. But McCutchen, like, he's not been bad this year, but this is obviously not the MVP McCutchen with the Pirates. Yeah, Pittsburgh, his old team, but I mean, I'm not looking at the revenge narrative. Like, he's been away from the Pirates for years now, and his walk percentile only 49th. So it's not like, it's a huge deal there. And Brubaker, 36th percentile, and his numbers really don't look that bad. His home and away splits, really, not really noticeable there. ERA is actually lower on the road. And McCutchen, just without a lot of walks, he has to rely on the hitting. And he's more been a guy that hits better against lefties. Somehow this year he's been better against righties. But, Brubaker, he's not a gas can. He's actually been a pretty good pitcher. His record doesn't indicate that, but he plays for the Pirates. So don't use that as a deciding factor. And McCutchen just doesn't really feel like the guy that you want to be taking. You compare how good of a player he is to some of these other guys. Like, he's not better than Olsen, Seager, Correa, Anderson, Hoskins, Bregman, Rodriguez. Like, all of these dudes, he's just not that great of a player when you put him relative to all the other ones in this category. And the matchup really isn't that great. So that's why I'm taking the under on McCutchen. Maybe we also get lucky. He actually gets pinch hit or something. But I'm taking this as if he plays the whole game. And I still like the under. His fantasy score projection is only at 6.5. So that should tell you enough. Like, a 6.5, you get him in this category. I mean, some of these guys are like 8. But he's at 6.5. I'm taking the under on this one. And then a lean is Jose Abreu over 6.5 for a fantasy score. Taking on Tarek Skubal, of course, the righty-lefty matchup. Skubal, he hasn't been as sharp as late, but that's a personal play because Skubal, he is a good pitcher. And then Acuna, Riley, they're in some good home run spots. Stolen base guys, Detmers, Tyler Anderson, Sonny Gray, Giolito, Bassett, Fetty, Stripling, Wheeler, John Gray, and possibly Aaron Ashby, but small sample size. So those are the guys that we're targeting. That's why I do have Acuna and Rodriguez on here. But the other ones, of course, they're always going to be good pitchers that will allow stolen bases. So I just rather not target good pitchers. And yeah, that's it for the video, guys, for today. The pitchers, not a lot of gas cans, so don't have a ton of plays right now. Pitching, because there are not a lot of bad pitchers. That's why there are also not a lot of pitcher plays either. So kind of a okay slate for this Friday. Got some plays there for you guys. Hopefully we can make some money today. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck on this slate, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.